The forgotten paint restoration secret isn't a $25 bottle of silicone wax that washes off in 2 weeks or a $5,000 professional respray. It's a $3 bottle of water-based acrylic floor finish from any hardware store. Deep clean the oxidized paint with dish soap, lightly scuff the dead clear coat with a fine pad, then wipe on 4 to 5 ultra-thin coats of the acrylic emulsion with a damp microfiber cloth, waiting 20 minutes between coats. The water opens microscopic pores in the fractured paint, the acrylic resin flows into the cracks through capillary action, cross-links at the molecular level, and permanently restores the factory gloss. This is the rogue archivist. The U.S. auto body and cosmetic refinishing industry is a $50 billion machine built on temporary bandages and planned obsolescence. You're paying $5,000 for a professional respray to fix a cosmetic failure that you can repair permanently for $3 using water-based acrylic polymer chemistry. $3 versus $5,000. The math is so absurd that the moment you see it, you'll understand why the auto care industry deliberately sells you abrasive rubbing compounds and temporary silicone waxes that destroy your clear coat over time instead of teaching you the permanent molecular repair method. But just knowing the product name is only 10% of the secret. Today, I'm going to show you the exact molecular chemistry that makes acrylic polymer emulsions superior to any wax or rubbing compound. I'm going to show you how a 1901 German chemist laid the foundation for this technology, how 1980s scale model builders accidentally rediscovered it, and how the auto care industry has spent 40 years burying this knowledge to protect their multi-billion-dollar ecosystem. And I'm going to show you the critical surface preparation and application technique that determines whether this method produces a permanent factory finish or fails completely. By the end of this investigation, you will have the blueprint to restore oxidized paint permanently and bypass the auto body cartel forever. Let's begin. The science behind paint oxidation and restoration begins with understanding what clear coat actually is. Modern automotive paint uses a base coat clear coat system. The colored base coat provides the pigment. The clear coat on top provides UV protection and gloss. Clear coat is a urethane or acrylic polymer that cures into a hard transparent film. When fresh, this film is smooth and glossy. But over years of sun exposure, UV radiation breaks down the polymer chains. The clear coat becomes brittle. Microscopic cracks form on the surface. These cracks scatter light instead of reflecting it uniformly. The paint appears dull, chalky, and oxidized. The color looks faded even though the pigment underneath is fine. The clear coat has simply fractured at the microscopic level. Traditional restoration methods attack this problem incorrectly. Rubbing compound contains abrasives that grind away the damaged clear coat layer. This temporarily exposes fresh, undamaged clear coat underneath, restoring gloss. But you are literally removing your paint, and the underlying clear coat is now thinner and will oxidize faster. Each time you use rubbing compound, you remove more material. Eventually, you break through the clear coat entirely and expose the base coat. At that point, the only fix is a complete respray. Waxes and sealants provide temporary gloss by filling the cracks with silicone or carnauba. But these materials wash off. They don't bond to the paint, they don't repair the damage, they just hide it temporarily. Acrylic polymer emulsion works differently. It is not an abrasive. It does not grind away material. And it is not a temporary filler. It is a permanent molecular repair. Here's how it works. An acrylic emulsion is a liquid containing microscopic acrylic polymer particles suspended in water. When you apply this liquid to damaged clear coat, the water acts as a carrier. It flows into the microscopic cracks through capillary action. Capillary action is the same force that allows water to climb up a narrow tube against gravity. In microscopic cracks, capillary forces are extremely strong. The water penetrates deep into the damaged clear coat, carrying the acrylic polymer particles with it. As the water evaporates, the polymer particles are left behind inside the cracks. These particles then coalesce and cross-link, forming new polymer chains that bond to the existing clear coat. The result is that the cracks are filled from the inside with new polymer material that becomes part of the existing clear coat structure. The refractive index of acrylic polymer is nearly identical to automotive clear coat. This means light passes through both materials at the same speed and bends at the same angle. When the cracks are filled with acrylic, light no longer scatters. It reflects uniformly. The gloss returns. And because the repair is molecular, it is permanent. It does not wash off. It does not degrade in the sun. It becomes part of the paint. This is not a coating on top of the paint. This is repair within the paint. And this distinction is critical. The historical development of this technology goes back to 1901 when Otto Röhm, a German chemist, began researching acrylic polymers. Röhm was trying to create new plastics with superior optical clarity. His work eventually led to the invention of polymethyl methacrylate, commercially known as Plexiglass. But in his early research, Röhm discovered that thin acrylic emulsions could flow into fractured surfaces and cure from the inside through capillary action. This property made acrylics ideal for coating and restoration applications. By the mid-20th century, acrylic emulsions were being used in floor finishes, wood coatings, and protective sealants. These products were cheap, water-based, non-toxic, and extremely durable. In the 1980s, hobbyists building scale models made an accidental discovery. Scale models are made from clear plastic that scratches and clouds easily. Modelers needed a way to restore optical clarity to damaged parts. Someone tried using SC Johnson Future Floor Polish, a water-based acrylic emulsion designed for high-traffic floors. The results were remarkable. The clouded plastic became crystal clear. Scratches disappeared. The finish was hard, durable, and permanent. Word spread through modeling communities. Future Floor Polish became a standard technique for restoring clear plastic canopies, windshields, and lenses. The same chemistry that made floors glossy and durable worked perfectly on clear plastic. A few automotive enthusiasts realized that if acrylic emulsion could restore clear plastic, it should work on clear coat paint. They tried it. It worked. Oxidized paint that looked dead was restored to factory gloss with a few thin coats of floor polish. The method was documented in car forums and detailing communities in the late 1990s and early 2000s. But it never went mainstream. And there's a reason for that. The auto care industry has no incentive to promote a $3 permanent solution. Their business model is built on recurring purchases of temporary products. Waxes that last a few weeks, sealants that last a few months, rubbing compounds that remove material and force eventual respray. Every product is designed to be consumed and repurchased. A permanent repair that costs $3 and lasts years destroys this model. So the industry buries the information. They market complexity. They sell expensive ceramic coatings that require professional application. They promote multi-step systems with proprietary chemicals. And they never mention that a simple water-based acrylic floor finish from the hardware store can permanently restore oxidized paint. The auto body shop industry also has no incentive to teach you this method. They charge $5,000 for a complete respray. The labor, materials, and facility costs for a respray are significant, but the profit margins are enormous. A customer with oxidized paint is a guaranteed $5,000 sale. If that customer learns they can restore the paint for $3, the body shop loses the sale. So body shops don't advertise this option. They tell you the paint is too far gone. They tell you a respray is the only solution, and they collect the $5,000 check. Here's what happens when you follow the industry's advice. You buy a bottle of rubbing compound. You grind away your clear coat. The gloss returns temporarily, but the clear coat is now thinner. 6 months later, it oxidizes again. You buy more rubbing compound. You grind away more clear coat. The cycle repeats. Eventually, you break through the clear coat. The base coat is exposed. Water gets underneath. The paint starts peeling. Now you actually do need a respray. The rubbing compound created the problem it was supposed to solve, and the auto care industry profits at every step. But if you had used acrylic polymer emulsion from the beginning, none of this would happen. The oxidized clear coat would be repaired at the molecular level. No material removed, no thinning. The paint would be protected and restored, and you would spend $3 instead of $5,000. This is the knowledge they don't want you to have. Now I'm going to give you the exact method. But first, critical product selection and safety warnings. You must use a water-based acrylic floor finish that is specifically an acrylic polymer emulsion. No wax, no silicone, no additives. Read the label carefully. The product should list acrylic polymer or acrylic copolymer as the primary ingredient. Common brands that work include Pledge Floor Care, Bona Supercourt, and similar commercial floor finishes. The old SC Johnson Future Floor Polish worked perfectly, but has been reformulated and renamed multiple times. If you find a product labeled as high-traffic floor finish with acrylic polymer, it will likely work. Cost is typically $5 to $10 for a large bottle that will last for multiple vehicles. Surface preparation is critical. The paint must be completely clean. Any wax, silicone, and/or oils on the surface will prevent the acrylic from bonding. Wash the vehicle thoroughly with strong dish soap. Dawn works well because it strips oils. For heavily waxed paint, use a degreaser or TSP trisodium phosphate mixed with water. Scrub the surface until water sheets off uniformly instead of beading. This indicates all wax and oils are removed. Dry the vehicle completely. Next, you need to lightly scuff the oxidized clear coat. The dead, chalky layer must be roughened so the acrylic can penetrate. Use a very fine Scotch-Brite pad or 4000 grit wet sandpaper with water. Work in small sections. Apply light pressure. You're not trying to remove material. You are creating microscopic texture that allows the acrylic to grip. The paint will look dull and matte after scuffing. This is normal. Rinse and dry the section before moving to the next. Application technique determines success or failure. Pour a small amount of acrylic floor finish into a clean bowl. Dip a clean microfiber cloth into the liquid. Wring the cloth so it is damp but not dripping. Wipe the damp cloth across the paint in straight overlapping lines. Do not rub. Do not apply pressure. You're not buffing. You're laying down an ultra-thin film of acrylic emulsion. The liquid should spread evenly and begin drying within seconds. If it pools or runs, your cloth is too wet. Wring more liquid out. Work in small sections, a hood or roof panel at a time. Wait 20 to 30 minutes for the first coat to dry. The surface will look slightly better but not transformed. Apply a second coat using the same technique. Wait. Apply a third coat. By the third or fourth coat, you will see dramatic improvement. The deep, rich color returns. The gloss builds. By the fifth coat, the paint looks wet. The oxidation is gone. The factory finish is restored. Each coat is only a few microns thick. 5 coats total maybe 20 microns. This is thinner than a human hair, but the cumulative effect is remarkable. Curing time. The acrylic will dry to the touch in 30 minutes. But full cure takes 24 to 48 hours. During this time, do not wash the vehicle. Do not expose it to rain if possible. Let the polymer fully cross-link and harden. After 48 hours, the finish is fully cured and extremely durable. It will withstand washing, weather, and UV exposure. The restored gloss will last for years. Not weeks, not months. Years. Limitations and expectations. This method works on oxidized clear coat that is still intact. If the clear coat is peeled, or the base coat is exposed, acrylic emulsion cannot repair that level of damage. You need a respray at that point. But for typical oxidation, where the paint looks dull and chalky but is not peeling, this method is highly effective. The restored finish will not look identical to a fresh professional respray. A respray involves sanding, priming, and applying multiple coats of new urethane. But the acrylic restoration will look far better than oxidized paint and vastly better than anything achievable with wax or rubbing compound. And it costs $3 instead of $5,000. Maintenance. Once restored, maintain the finish with regular washing. You can apply car wax or sealant on top of the acrylic if desired. The acrylic layer is now your new clear coat. It protects the original clear coat underneath. If the acrylic layer oxidizes over time, you can simply apply more coats. The chemistry allows endless reapplication. You are building layers of protection. Compare this to rubbing compound, which removes layers and eventually destroys the paint. The difference in philosophy is fundamental. This is a $3 investment that eliminates your dependency on $5,000 auto body shops and the $50 billion cosmetic refinishing industry. No abrasive compounds grinding away your clear coat. No temporary silicone fillers washing off in 2 weeks. No planned obsolescence forcing eventual respray. You have just reclaimed polymer chemistry that was developed in 1901 and rediscovered by scale model builders in the 1980s using knowledge that the auto care industry systematically buried. And once you understand that this is possible, you start to realize that many of the other systems you depend on are built on the same model. Temporary solutions replacing permanent repairs. Recurring purchases replacing one-time fixes. Expensive professional services replacing simple DIY chemistry. Your truck is a tool, an investment, and a piece of your independence. You shouldn't have to write a $5,000 check just because the sun baked your clear coat. By applying this century-old polymer science in your own driveway, you cheat the auto body system, restore your property's value, and keep your hard-earned money exactly where it belongs. The modern auto care industry has convinced you that you are helpless without professional services and expensive proprietary products. That you cannot restore paint without grinding it away or paying thousands for respray. That maintaining your vehicle requires continuous purchases of temporary chemicals. But the historical record and the chemistry prove otherwise. German chemists in 1901 understood capillary action and polymer cross-linking. Scale model builders in the 1980s restored clear plastic to optical clarity using floor polish. They used knowledge that was documented in technical journals and hobby forums before the auto care industry, buried molecular repair methods, and replaced them with abrasive temporary products. That knowledge was systematically hidden from you, and now you have it back. Use it. Restore your paint. Protect your investment. And remember that every system trying to make you dependent is terrified of the moment you realize you don't need them. This is the Rogue Archivist. The vault is open. The knowledge is yours. Take your independence back.